right, welcome everyone. We're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we're here for Haikyuu, Season 4, Episode 6. Our crows are back together.
They are.
So I thought it was appropriate to wear this. I'm so excited that our boys are back. It's so exciting.
And Kageyama told Hinata that he can fly higher.
Yes,
because
indeed.
he is here. Watashi ga kita.
Yes, and we've got basically all the progress training that our three boys have gone on.
Yep.
Different specific journeys. Tsukishima not touched on as much as our main two, obviously because they're the main two characters. But things like Hinata's receives will be so much better. Kageyama's kind of leadership qualities.
Right.
Potentially. We're going to have probably Nishinoya being more of a team player as well. Maybe the lesson of taking it easy.
Sure.
Whole ton of things that they can bring back to the team in preparation, not just for nationals, but for a Datiko practice match.
That's right.
Oh, that's so cool. We're going to get to see Aone again.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to get to see the setter boy.
Forget his name. But
the one that went all over and got the email addresses for everyone. Yes. But, without further ado, y'all, let's get into this. All right, everyone. Now be sure to go check out the reaction portion of the video in the description below, and then come back here for the discussion. All right, the boys are back in town. Yep.
And this episode actually was fairly straightforward because it's like, okay, them all getting back together and hanging out and making their jokes and all that stuff. And then, okay, we've got that match with Datiko. Datiko is a very serious team. And given that their defense is so good, that's a great sort of like iron to sharpen their offense on. But this went a lot more in detail than I expected, given that it's a practice match.
The biggest thing that they went into with regards to the practice match was basically setting up the stakes as if this is a nationals level practice potential opportunity of sorts. Datiko is so good in their blocks that they are potentially at a national level, and it's just that their team is not rounded enough in order to get to nationals.
Exactly.
That's the case.
But just because they beat them in a match before doesn't mean that they can
necessarily beat them again.
Right, exactly.
And as far as volleyball is concerned, more people touch the ball basically on defense than offense, if you think about it. There's the blockers that basically get the one touches, that first bit there. More often than not, the blockers are the ones that will end up being that extra bit of touches where it never even, it never even hits basically the offense there. They just stop it, and then it ends up going right back down like they are here.
Well, and also, since Karasuno is one of their biggest strengths, because Nishinoya is wonderful, right? But their biggest strength has always been their offense, right? And the reason they were able to beat Shiratorizawa is because they were able to, even if they couldn't stop Ushijima's spikes, they could
isolate him.
They could isolate him, but then they could also get a bunch themselves, so that way they could kind of keep pace with them, right? Whereas with Datiko, it's a very much like rock, paper, scissors kind of a thing. Right.
Datiko is the rock, and basically, as far as all the offense you get with scissors, you can't cut rock with scissors. So,
and that's why that was such an impactful match, is because it was basically them continually going until scissors did beat rock, right?
Right. That was what also happened with Seijo a ways back when Seijo went up against Datiko, and they were having serious problems trying to figure out a way around them, and it ended up just being a case of how well-rounded and, I would say, connected Seijo was, and also how new their setter was, Kogane. So, Kogane is the rookie setter. We had a little bit of a lead-in build-up to what happened with Kageyama at the end of the episode. Kageyama's scowling a little bit. There's noticing this aura of he seems a little bit different. Everyone's a little bit worried that, hey, Kageyama, are you doing okay? And Kageyama's not an expressive individual in general.
Definitely.
So finding ways to pull out of him exactly what's going on, it seems to be that he's doubting some aspect of himself as a setter.
Right.
And it's going to come out in some specific way where he maybe calls up his teammates to a higher level so he doesn't end up being a goody two-shoes, because that did rattle him. And it was something that he actually brought up to Ukai.
And given that this is something that he's just doing now, it's very possible that he'll do it badly, like with Nishinoya at the end of the episode. Right. Now, it's out of context, so there might be something where he's like, you're in the way, like someone's about, like, you're literally in the way of someone that's about to do a thing. But it could also be something where, since apparently the next episode is titled Return, that it could be the return of the king, right? That Kageyama regresses a little bit back into those old patterns because he's realizing that his current way of doing things is insufficient. But because he has a team and because, people understand him and all that stuff and
everyone on that side of the court is on the same side.
Exactly. Since he has grown a lot since then, even if he does regress a little bit, I'm pretty confident that he will be able to talk things out with his team and they'll be able to come to a mutual understanding of what it was that Kageyama saw at that training camp and how they can adapt to it.
Yeah, the big thing is that Nishinoya, as far as personality goes, is not the kind of person who will take this probably in the best possible way.
No, probably
he's a little bit of a wild child. He's a little bit unruly. And if Kageyama shows signs of trying to be a ruler again, that's literally the worst person then to bring that kind of stuff up to. If anything, I would say that the fact that it's happening to Nishinoya, I would say, is better, though, than if it was happening to Asahi. Because if Asahi had that, he would internalize it and then not bring it up as a problem. Whereas Nishinoya is going to be like, the hell did you say to me?
What are you talking about? I'm amazing.
Well, not only that, like, he barely saved that, he barely saved that block there.
Right.
So that's something where, if anything, we might end up getting, unfortunately, a jab thrown towards Kageyama from Nishinoya about Kageyama's sets, even.
Well, potentially, but the thing is, in a lot of ways, that could be really good, because Kageyama's, I feel like a lot of the times when Kageyama's looking for feedback on his sets, and he's not getting it from his team, that's because they're not setters, right? Now they're spikers, and they understand, a lot of the stuff about it, but because they're thinking about how to best spike the ball, maybe they're not giving it enough thought in order to be able to really come up with some constructive feedback.
Right. And I think the reason for that is that the goody two-shoes thing is actually that's the point there, is you need to be taking it easy in some ways, Kageyama. Make your spikers get the easiest possible set to spike from. Not just that it's quick, it's faster, or what have you, but those are the things that he gets to be able to do as a privilege because of his talent, because of his raw talent. But he can actually scale back his talent potentially a little bit, give them slightly more customizable sets, if you will, so that when they attack it with their spike, they have more freedom as to what they do with it. And then maybe that will at the very least offset the tempo of Dateko's blocks. I don't think it will do too much.
Right.
I think they're good enough to where they'll just adjust.
But the thing about them mentioning that Suki was getting higher spikes or higher sets at the training camp, that was something that Kageyama took note of, right?
Yes.
And I feel like there were a bunch of things that they did this episode where they were showing characters either both doing well and not doing well on the court, from the standpoint of Kageyama doing sets that were great, but then he's like, no, but it wasn't quite great. But other people were like, no, it was fantastic, right? And then in the case of Nishinoya, there were times where he did these great saves, and then times that he didn't. Right? And is that something that Kageyama's been noticing, and that's why he brings it up here? Who knows?
Yeah, I think the main thing will be that Kageyama will need to express in the proper and helpful way to his team that he is going to make his set something that will give them more opportunities to be awesome. So once he communicates that properly, stuff like this where he maybe blurts out something that is correct but isn't necessarily helpful will go back less and less. They'll just happen less and less. We end up getting basically a rundown of what are the big things that every player kind of went through and grew in specifically. Kageyama is being a lot more observant, and I would say maybe going to need to regress a little bit in order to become a proper leader.
Right.
Not
he's
a
still
king
figuring
or a tyrant.
out exactly how he's
but,
growing.
Right, but maybe maybe more of a stage director. In the same sense that sense that a king would be the one that would bark orders, essentially, go forth and do the thing.
Yeah.
A stage director never says a word. They don't yell at people. They have this we move, we flow, and I never stop my flow of motion, what have you.
Right.
So I kind of want to see that be his thing.
Uh-huh.
Everyone, though, noticed Hinata's amazing receive motion.
Yes.
His split step.
Yep.
He settled. He adjusted, even though it was out of bounds, what have you.
Sure.
He still hit it up. He didn't hit it. He didn't hit it back towards the setter or anything, but he did hit it straight up, which might have been exactly what he intended. And they don't know exactly what he intended with regards to how he received it, because it looked like it still came in really fast and awkward. But the way he moved into the perfect position to receive it...
That is not something old Hinata could have done.
Not at all! That was Hinata's most crippling weakness that he had, was that... Okay, just don't end up trying to get the serve, Hinata. We understand that you have a great face that can receive plenty of stuff.
Because the thing
is, we don't need Scott Sterling right now.
Hinata has a knack for when he comes into contact with the volleyball, it goes to the ground, right?
I mean, there have been times where it was actually sent up and because his neck snapped back so hard.
But the thing is, he's so focused on offense that it's just that instinct of my contact to the volleyball should send it to the court, But that's not what you want when you're defending.
Right. We understand, Hinata, that you have a huge stomach for volleyball, but there comes a point where you have to use something other than your stomach or your face to go after the volleyball. You have to use your hands and your head just a little bit there. I like that Kyoko was the one that brought up the idea in word, though. Usually the commentary comes from Takeda, Tetsu, or Ukai, or even Suga, because Suga's often on the sidelines. Suga. But Kyoko's saying, there are often times where Hinata does superhuman things, but oftentimes it's hard to tell whether or not he's intentionally doing that. But this time, he looked like he knew what he was doing.
Right. Yeah.
That's just awesome. Cool. And then the smiles from everyone across the court. Yeah.
But that bit at the end, though, I'm really curious to see how they're gonna resolve it, because given that it was out of context at the end, right? We had the context of it being built up too, but we don't see anything after it. We just see the thing happening and then the shock on everyone's faces. They're like, did Kageyama just say that?
What?
Right?
Even Tsukishima seemed like, wait, what?
And the fact that it didn't seem to be something that was I mean, I guess in some parts it felt like it was building up in Kageyama, but what was building up in Kageyama seemed to be more of this enjoyment. Ooh, okay.
Yeah. He's like, we're playing against a strong team.
Yeah, this is going to be great, So the fact that he would say something like that to Nishinoya after Nishinoya made a save, that's interesting. Yeah. That's really interesting. Yeah. So, yeah.
We got to see Hinata extend his jump, potentially. We didn't get to see the actual results of it. But
that was cruel. That was
I like that they
cruel.
went into the actual physical mechanics of it and then teased that because Hinata doesn't think about it at all, he might be literally missing huge chunks of height
an extra
on his jumps.
10% or something, which
10% would be that's a lot. I would say maybe 2%.
Okay.
2% is very noticeable.
Oh yeah.
I'll tell you, I used to do these stair exercises to try and increase my jumps, and it's all about timing how you throw your arms, your knees, and everything. It's very tough. My jump barely increased after a month of doing this.
Oh yeah?
We're talking 1% or less than 1%. But it is noticeable when you're already jumping however high Hinata was jumping. I think we brought it up that he's jumping 2.5 feet or something like that.
Or 3 feet.
It's something
ridiculous.
It's something insane.
Yeah.
It is
they did
possible.
They did, because he got up to 3 meters and something.
Then we subtracted his height, which is 162 centimeters. So it's
over a meter.
100. Yeah. Oh wait, no. It wasn't over a meter because he had his arms as well.
Right. So he did 1.5 times. Or
the point is he jumps really high, and if Hinata got a 2% increase on his jumps from just thinking about it a little bit more.
That'd be a really big deal.
That's a huge deal, considering he could already do so much aerial stuff back in season 2.
Because like here we got him, and he did his serve against, or his spike against Date, right? Mm-hmm. And they were able to touch it, right? They managed to get their fingers on it.
Right.
Imagine if he was like, I don't know, 3-4 centimeters higher. Mm. Maybe they wouldn't have been able to even do that.
Yeah. Yeah. And all that time he's basically spending then basically above the net.
Right.
He gets to then decide where the ball is going, which means he jumps earlier, which means he gets more time to think. It's just, it all snowballs into a greater result. Asahi seemed rather confident.
Right. It was really
and he
cool
also was being, I would say, analytical internally with regards to things. But I really want to see this match go the full 3-set distance. I know this is a practice match, so they might just end it after like 2 sets, or they might not even really show one of the sets.
Yeah, do like
a
montages and
yeah. But if they could stop it almost a little bit to pause and deal with this character problem thing that brought it up here, that would make it a lot more impactful for Karasuno as a team, because it has some potential character drama in it. And what do you know? Dateko is a great team for instigating some pretty good character drama for Karasuno.
Yep. I gotta say,
the pattern continues.
Dateko is one of my favorite teams. Like,
I agree.
They don't get a lot of time to shine, I feel like, because
the characters are quiet.
And also it was like, okay, well, we have Seicho and we have Shiro Torizawa and all these other ones to come like after them, you know?
Nekoma.
Yeah, Nekoma and Nationals and just all of that.
Yeah.
But I really like the idea of just the terrifying defense, right? Like maybe that's just because we live in Washington and, the Legion of Boom memories are still strong, right? But yeah. Anyways, great episode.
Episode 7. Next week, we're watching these with the actual releases, so there's no early access. But if you want to watch full-length timer reactions for these ones, go check out the link in the description below for our Patreon. And any level of support gets you access to our Discord, where you can chat with us and the community there. There's a really big community in there for Haikyuu. There's anime-onlys and manga people in there, so be sure to go check that out. And,
And
you also check out Jacob's sci-fi novel that he wrote.
Right. It doesn't have volleyball, but it's really cool, and it's called Battle Lines, and it has a team, and the team dynamic is very strong.
And it's 6, so...
It is 6, with a potential addition of a 7th if you want to... But anyways, so, it's on Amazon, link in the description below in both hardback and ebook, so make sure to go check that out.
Yeah, so if any of that interests you, we'll see you there. But until then, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we'll see you all next time.